My name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today I'm going to do the e-reader book tag. I saw Stacey over at Christian Reads and Classics do this. I was not officially tagged in it, but I have a love for my Kindle and I thought, hey, this is like one of the perfect tags for me to do. So I am going to do it. And I decided today I was going to film in our living room because one, I can film during the day because my husband's at work. And two, I don't need my books because I just need my Kindle to talk about it. So I thought, hey, this will be a very relaxed video. Let's try this. I'm not quite sure on the lighting right now, but I'm trying to figure out a lighting solution. So kind of bear with me. Okay, so there are 7 questions in this tag. So let's start with question number 1. What was the first e-reader you ever owned? What was your reason for getting one? And were you a reluctant convert or an eager one? So the first e-reader I ever owned is my Kindle keyboard. So it has the keyboard at the bottom and obviously it's not charged. And then I got this in September of 2011. It was a birthday Christmas gift from my mom to me. Now, my birthday is the end of November, and obviously Christmas is December. But at that time, Kindle was only available in the States. So we went over for a weekend trip over to Port Huron, Michigan with my mom, and she bought it for me. And then, you know, something like this, you gotta plug in, register, kind of get it all set up. You can't wait 3 months. October, November, 2.5 months. So she gave it to me early. So I remember exactly when I picked this up. I picked it up at Target. As I said, it was in Port Huron. And when I got this, I also got this cover. So says The New Yorker, and it just kind of clips in, right? Kind of sits in there. So I have had this same cover on it ever since 2011. It is a little beat up. I don't know if you can really see that. But and of course it's like worn from where I've held it. I was so excited to get the Kindle. Basically because I wanted access to books without taking up a ton of space. And kind of when I researched kind of the best, because there was the Amazon Kindle and there is I don't know if it's called the Kobo, which is the Canadian version of the Kindle, which is linked to, at the time it was Chapters, now it's Indigo. But when I looked, more books were available on Amazon. So even though I bought the American one, I had to register it with the American website. I bought books through the American Amazon, but then when Kindle became available in Canada, I was able to register it on the Canadian Amazon account and just transfer it over to the right country and download books that way. So that is what I did. I think for the first 2 years it was probably on the American, and then it came into Canada and much more available for us. And now you can buy it at our Stable store, or you can buy it directly on Amazon.ca and stuff. But at the time you couldn't. It was very early on. Yeah, as I said, my reason for getting one was I loved to read and I couldn't afford to buy all the books that I wanted to read. And so I did a bunch of research and I was able to look. So my Kindle account says I have 555 books on my Kindle. Now I probably have about 500 on this one. And that doesn't include any that I borrowed through Kindle Unlimited and such. But obviously they're not on this one anymore. Okay, so before, I want to say something else, but that's really part of question number 2. So I was very eager to get it. That's all I really can say. And I took it with me everywhere, just like I would take a book with me everywhere. So what e-reader do I use now, and what other e-readers do I own? So basically the e-reader I use now is, okay, I don't want you to wake up. Go to sleep. Okay, so the e-reader I use now is a Kindle Oasis. So it has the buttons on the side here. I don't know, lighting, yeah. So it has, you can see what book I'm reading. It has the page turn buttons on the side. So that is one thing that I absolutely loved about the Paperwhite one is, it's hard to see, but there are buttons here to turn the pages on both sides. So I could read using this hand and turn the, well, I mean, technically, right? I could hold the Kindle in either hand to turn the pages, and I wasn't touching the screen. So that's what I absolutely loved about this one. But this one was getting really slow. I mean, I got it in 2011, so it's 11 years old. And so for Christmas last year, I decided to treat myself. I got some Christmas money and I kind of saved it up for a couple years because I kept looking at replacing the Kindle, but I couldn't decide which Kindle to get. The Oasis came out. I'm going to fight with this again. The Oasis came out and it's got the buttons on the side, but they're only on the one side. However, you can flip it over to switch, and then the screen flips. It's not going to because it's in the sleep mode, but the screen flips so you can use the buttons with either hand no matter which way you're doing it. Let's turn it on and I'll show you. Okay, so so I can flip the pages this way, or if I flip my Kindle, it automatically flips, and then I can use the buttons to go whichever way. So that was basically, I really like the buttons because I really like to be able to read with either hand, depending, right? If I'm drinking a coffee, I want it in this hand, so I'm holding my book in this hand, right? I want to be able to switch back and forth to be able to turn the pages. And I'm not a fan of touching the screen to turn my pages, especially if you have to be on the right to go forward, you have to be on the left to go back. I don't like that. So, okay, so I'm kind of skipping down a bit, but when I read on my phone, I can only turn the page with the right, like to go forward with my right, go back with the left side of the page. And I don't like touching the screen to do that. And because the Kindle's wider and I have kind of small hands, I don't like going back and forth on either side of the screen. So the buttons were very, very important to me. But the Kindle Oasis is the most expensive Kindle at the time. I don't know anymore because I haven't really looked. But so it was like, that's a lot of money to spend on that just to be able to read books. Is it worth it for me? So I debated because at the time my Kindle was 10 years old. And so I debated and debated and debated, and I'm like, I don't know. So I saved up Christmas money for 2 years, and then January of this year I bought this Kindle, the Kindle Oasis, and then I bought this cover to go with it. And as I said, when I bought this cover, this was the only cover I ever had, so I plan on keeping this cover for a while. I find one I really like, and I don't want to switch them out. So yeah, that is the way I am. And these are the only Kindles I own. My other one is really not usable right now. Well, it was very, very slow, and there were times last summer where I thought, oh, it's dead. Yeah, I've got a problem. But it survived until I replaced it. So then question number 3 is, do you read on multiple devices or always on the same device? And if you use multiple, how do you decide which one to use? So basically I read on my Kindle or on my phone. And basically how I decide is if I have my Kindle and if my Kindle's available, I read on my Kindle. If I'm out, like if I was at work and on my lunch break want to read, or if I'm waiting in a doctor's appointment or something like that, I read on my phone. I just use the Kindle app and read on my phone. But my preference is to read on my Kindle. I mean, it's a bigger screen. So, yeah. And I prefer the page turn buttons. As I said, I don't like having to touch my screen to turn the pages. So, basically, that's how I decide which device I'm going to use. Depends where I am and if my Kindle is accessible. I do take my Kindle with me when we go like on road trips and stuff like that. But just for every day outside of the house, I don't normally have my Kindle with me. But I do have my phone with me, so I can read no matter what. Okay, then, question number 4 is, do you still read physical books? And if so, how do you decide which format to read a certain book in? So, first part of that question is, do you still read physical books? Yes. And how do I decide which format to read a certain book in? Depends what format I own the book in. Because I either own the book in physical or on Kindle. I don't normally own a copy in both formats. There's a couple books I do own both in, but mainly probably because I had it on Kindle first and then I found it on a great deal in physical and I loved it, so I bought it. Very rare do I have the same book in both formats. So it depends on how do I have the book, which format I'm going to read it in. Question number 5 is, what is something you dislike about reading ebooks? What do I dislike about reading ebooks? One, I think I've kind of discovered very recently, within last year. As I said, I've been reading on my Kindle for 11 years now. So, kind of, my more recent dislike for it is I don't like not exactly knowing where I am in the book. Now, the Kindle does tell me that I'm like 50%, 60%, 75%, but there's nothing like the feeling of putting a bookmark in and seeing it progress throughout the book. I don't know. That's weird, I know. And I don't always see the cover. Now, on the Kindle Oasis, it does show me the cover when it goes to the screensaver mode. This is because I'm reading an advanced reader copy right now. It doesn't have an official cover on it, but for a different book, I would have the cover there. But on my Paperwhite Kindle, it always went to some generic ad type thing. It was like Agatha Christie, Mark Twain, kind of by Kindle here, kind of, right? Like it was very generic type photos. And I don't know, a big part of a book is its cover, I think. That's how I associate a book together, is that's what the cover looks like and that's what the contents are. So I think that's one thing that I dislike about it, is just the progress, seeing through it, and kind of having the cover in your face all the time. I don't know. I can't explain it any more than that. So, question number 6 is, would you ever ditch physical books completely and become a sole ebook reader? If yes, why? If no, why? So, would I ever ditch physical books completely? No. I did read more Kindle books than physical books for quite a few years. This year, it's kind of, I don't know if it's completely changed the opposite way, but my physical book reading has definitely increased this year than the past few years prior. However, I still read physical books and always have. And basically that comes down to the price. Where can I get the book for free? Well, for free. Where can I get the book for the best price? So I am frugal. I will admit that. And I am because I go through books fairly quickly, like I would say, I read 6 to 10 books a month, which doesn't seem like a lot to some people, but is a lot to other people. And I can't afford to be paying $20 every single time for a book. So I pay attention to the ebook deals, or I pay attention to like book outlet deals or thrift stores, or kind of where can I get the book for the best price. And that usually depends how I'm going to read it. So I am not going to get rid of physical books. And there is no feeling like reading a physical book in your hand and then your friends be able to see it. And the other advantage to physical books is you can pass them on, resell them, loan them out to friends, that kind of stuff. Whereas in Canada, we can't do that with Kindle books. I can't pass and have my mom read it without giving her my Kindle that it's loaded on. And I'm not doing that. My Kindles too, I'm not loading it out to anybody. It's used too much. So that is the advantage of a physical book. But yeah. Now I know in the States that you can gift ebooks to people, you can loan an ebook to people. And so maybe that would change a little bit, but in Canada we can't do that at this time. Maybe it'll be coming. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so question number 7 is, where do you get your ebooks? Well, considering I have the Amazon Kindle, it's from Amazon. That's the only place I get them from. Yeah, I don't really use our library, and I can't, again, because we're Canada, even if I was to get a library book, I couldn't download it on my Kindle because they're linked with the Kobo. I think it's Kobo. As I said, I'm not 100% sure on it, but it's a different version. And so it wouldn't automatically transfer to my Kindle account. So then I'd have to go through a whole PDF format change or something. I don't know. I looked it up once. It was too confusing for me. And it was like, nope, not going to do that. So I did have a Kindle Unlimited subscription for a while. I don't have it right now, but I will be reactivating it again. I usually I have a Kindle Unlimited wish list where the books that I'm interested in that are available on Kindle Unlimited, I put them in there. And then when I activate the subscription, basically for that month, those are the books that I'm going to read to make my subscription worth it because it's $10 a month. So then I'll do that for a couple months and then I'll deactivate it and read books that I own otherwise, and then later reactivate it again. So that's kind of how I do that. So that is the only place that I get ebooks from. And so question number 8 is to tag someone. So basically, I think I'm going to tag Katie at Paperbacks and Ponytails. I'm not sure if she uses the eReader, so I would love to find out and have her answer these questions. I want to thank you for joining me today and kind of learning a little bit more about my reading preferences. Are you a Kindle user, or do you have a different eReader that you absolutely love? I would love to chat in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, I'd love it if you would like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments below, are you a Kindle user, or do you have another e-reader that you prefer to use? Thank you for watching. Bye.